Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and rogerstv.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to rogerstv.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
I joined because I wanted to help others.
To be a part of something bigger.
To show my kids what's important.
I joined to make my community stronger.
To make a difference in someone's life.
To acknowledge that our freedoms come at a cost.
I joined to honor my mom.
My grandpa.
My neighbor.
Everyone who served.
Who are serving still.
I joined.
I joined.
I joined the Legion.
This is Rogers TV, Grey County.
Hello and welcome to this special edition COVID-19 Rogers Television program dedicated to informing you of the resources and services available during this pandemic. My name is Carol Merton, and for those of you who've been watching the program, you know that I'd like to spend just a few minutes at the very beginning to say thank you. So today, before I welcome our guest, I would like to take a few minutes to read some excerpts from a letter by an author called Alison Wines. Alison had sent this to Francesca Dobbin, Executive Director of United Way Bruce Gray, and Francesca had sent it on to me. So I'm going to read some excerpts from the letters and then just a few words from me before I introduce our guest. There is an invisible group of people who aren't being recognized, who are working intensely to keep the world turning, to make sure that those on the front lines have the support they need, and those at home have something to go back to when we get to the other side of this. Who are you? You're the HR teams working 80-hour weeks to start workforce planning from scratch, redeploying team members, trying to think of something, anything to preserve jobs. You're the CEOs of charities, writing new budgets so you can help keep the world with funding that has evaporated overnight. You're accountants and bankers, restructuring finances and debt to help small businesses stay afloat. You're trade managers, negotiating frantically to get hand sanitizer and face masks into the country. Your consultants supporting clients through massive change, unsure if you'll get paid for the work that you're doing, but you're doing it anyway because it matters. Your hospital administrators running payroll for the nurse that just clocked 30 hours of overtime. Your communicators trying to find the words to explain a crisis like this, the likes of which have never been seen, to your organization staff and to your community. My words to you are this: you are not invisible. Our message back to you is your contributions are greatly appreciated, and we send to you a most heartfelt and sincere thank you for what you are doing. And on that note, I want to thank Savanna Myers, who has joined us today. Savanna, thank you for being here. You are the Director of Economic Development, Tourism and Culture for Grey County. Have I got that right?
That's right, yes.
So I appreciate you taking the time. I know everyone is really busy these days, but I had seen a report that came out of Grey County about the impact on Grey County businesses, and I'm hoping today you can talk a bit about, first of all, what you do and your role, how long you've been with the county, and then the impact of COVID-19, as well as any recovery plans and strategies that may be in place. So I'm going to turn it over to you and take it away, Savanna.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Carol. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here and talk to you because this is really important work that all of us around the table are trying to do at all levels of government. And I so appreciate what you just read because this is such a testament to remind us how amazing our people are. We have absolutely amazing people who are working behind the scenes, who are on the front line. This is just a real testament to humanity and what happens when you pull yourselves together.
Yeah.
So I have been with Grey County for not quite 4 years. It'll be 4 years this fall. Started as the manager of economic development, and then in November we merged three departments together and became the director of economic development, tourism, and culture. And excellent time for that to happen, actually, because there's so many similarities and so many threads that pull those three departments together, and being able to be together in this time is especially important. We did do a report to council. It was the end of April. We're getting ready to do another one the end of this month because things are changing so quickly. And it's really important that council and our community and everybody involved is aware of what's happening with our businesses through COVID-19 and what we expect might be on the other side. So I'll tell you about the impacts on what we've seen so far, what we're hearing anecdotally, and then we can definitely talk about where we'll move to with that recovery planning, because we're not quite there yet, but we're on our way. So you mentioned at the very beginning too, this is completely unprecedented times. We are not used to something that just stops so abruptly. It's not a recession. It is so much more than that because there was no time to get us there. It just happened right away. So that has really challenged all of us to try and think about what do we do to get through COVID-19 and how do we get to the other side. And we often hear that it is really the small businesses and our tourism industry that are going to be the hardest hit in that. And that is very much our economy here in Grey County. In rural Ontario, we are built by small business, which is why we're so nimble and why we can be so creative. But at the same time, that puts us at a greater risk for what will happen with our business community. So I'll share some stats with you that were in that report. We have approximately 10,500 businesses in Grey County. 70% of those, so 7,300, are sole proprietors or home-based business. So that's a significant number of small business that will be greatly impacted by this. And just over 3,000 of those businesses that do have employees, the majority of them are under 19 staff. So when we say we're a community of small and medium-sized businesses, we really mean it because we are.
Yeah.
If we look at the tourism component of that, 13% of those businesses, so just over 1,300 businesses, are tourism-related businesses in Grey County. So they are a very important backbone of our economy. And are absolutely feeling the pressures of COVID-19 because they have had to stop their business. And what that looks like in terms of coming back, I know every day it seems there's a new announcement coming out about what does recovery look like. We're hopeful that tourism will be a part of that early recovery because they are very nimble, and because we have a lot of beautiful outdoor space, we can separate people, but what that looks like, we just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We ran a survey with the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus and all of the municipalities kind of in southwestern Ontario to make sure that we were asking the same questions so that we could really get a good regional picture of what the business impact looked like. Because we think it's really important to not only hear it right on the ground, but also be able to roll it up as that broader region where the Western Ontario Wardens can then bring the information up to the different levels of government through the province and the federal governments. So that was very successful in being able to pull that survey together in not a lot of time. And we had 318 businesses from all 9 of our member municipalities respond to that survey. So that was really good to see. And it gave us a clear picture of what we were hearing, but now that kind of factual background that says, yes, this is the impact that you're seeing. And of those, 80% of our businesses indicated that that impact was significant and growing fast. So this wasn't a gentle kind of something's happening, I'm just trying to get ready for it. It just happened right away. So that was really important to be able to turn that around and feed that information up. And that 56% of the businesses told us that they shut down their operations temporarily because they needed to. That was the best approach to be able to try and save business in the long run. We heard that 39% laid off staff and 33% of businesses reduced their hours of operation. And I do have to say that when I said we have amazing people and we have amazing businesses, the one thing that has come through loud and clear, whether it's survey or businesses calling in the support line, their number one concern is their employees. It's always their people. And what can we do to try and save our people and save these jobs and make sure that they have something coming back? But also, how do we take care of them right now? And that has been the number one concern of business. And it makes our heart so full to know that we do have such amazing organizations here. We're very hopeful that a lot of the programs that have been announced, and we just wrapped up a second survey that really dug into that. So those information and those details will be available by the end of this month. We'll do the same thing that we did with the first survey, where we bring a report to council and we'll publish those results as well, because we would rather have the information out there. We think it makes a lot of sense that everyone has it. It is not good information. It is not happy information, but it's important information. And unless we're all sharing the same data and the same statistics, it's really difficult to make a good cohesive plan. So that will be the process again. 42% of businesses let us know too that they're going to have difficulty making ends meet in the next few months, and 29% were in need of help immediately. So that kind of gives you a lay of the land of what the business overall impact was. When we're looking to federal and provincial governments, they have been absolutely amazing to come out with programs quickly, nimbly, and to listen to where there are gaps and where there are barriers and make adjustments. That has been very important. And that's part of what the information that we're collecting here on the ground helps to inform. When we can collect it, we can send it then to our MP and our MPP, who bring it back to legislation and to Parliament. And that's really important to keep that line of communication open. It's no surprise that our businesses are looking for financial assistance, and they've been excellent to let us know, please, anything but a loan. Don't give us a loan. We're looking for grants. We're looking for something, whether it's deferrals and taxes, just something that we don't have to pay the bill right now, and we're not going to have to pay it back as soon as we are back up and going, because that's going to be just as difficult for business. The recovery phase will be likely as difficult as this closed phase, because everything is going to look so very different. And then going back to that, employees as that very first concern, was that the businesses were looking for support for people who've lost work. And this also includes the business owners who were looking for self-employment type benefits. And that is where the CERB made that initial adjustment to be able to allow sole proprietors to access their programs, which hadn't happened when it was first launched. So we are very, very pleased with how quickly the federal and provincial governments have turned programs around and made those amendments. Municipally, businesses, they're seeking tax relief and deferrals, and I'm really proud of our municipalities. Many, if not all of them, have already done this. They've extended those deadlines so that penalty on a late charge is not there, which gives our businesses that breathing room. And the county is also participating in that, so that our June levy collection wouldn't be due until the end of September. So that's another way that the county can participate in these as well. Now, Kevin Wepler, our Director of Corporate Services, has brought a couple updates to council about that, just to make sure that those conversations are happening. Businesses looking for those financial supports and grants, again, anything but a loan, cash to cover those expenses that are there. The fixed expenses are going to stay, whether or not they have revenue. And like we said at the very beginning, this wasn't like a recession where things slowly downturned. It was just an immediate stop. And then looking for communication and marketing awareness, promotion, and helping them because they have made such quick adjustments to change completely their models of operations, where they're now online and they're taking those steps to do curbside delivery and changing the way they have always done business to be able to succeed in this new world. And what could we do to step up and help promote that? And that is where our Community and Business Resiliency Map was launched. That was when we were looking at the survey results and we were taking a peek at them as the survey was open, and we realized this was a need of our businesses. What can we do? It was a 24-hour conversation between myself, economic development staff, our communications department, and IT. And 24 hours later, we had a map that was live and ready to go. So it was a phenomenal turnaround. We have just an incredible team who was able to pull this together and worked with Bayshore Broadcasting to put a PSA together so that we could get the word out that this is something we can do for our business community, and we can put it all in one spot. Because that is also a challenge with everybody being online and everything being virtual. There's so much information floating right now and available to assist that it's almost a burden to try and navigate it all. So we made a commitment early on that we would create a one page. Anything we were going to do was going to go through that one page. So that's where the Business Resiliency Map exists. That's where all of our links back to federal and provincial supports exist. That's where our business support line information is, and any webinars and series that we think would be of value to our business community, it lives on that page. So we'll continue to, it changes every day.
One-stop shopping.
That's right, exactly, yes. And what else is nice about that, because it was built on a GIS platform, our IT department was able to make that an open source template. And many other communities from our neighbors in Bruce County and straight through southwestern Ontario, even as far as the East Coast, have now taken that template and launched it for themselves, which is great. So we help save some municipalities some work to be able to assist their business community quickly as well.
Yeah, so you pioneered a new template, and now you're sharing it.
That's right.
I just have a couple of questions. I've just been making some notes. I have the report, but so can you tell me a little bit about the support line? You mentioned that, and what is the support line?
Absolutely. So any business, if they're looking for an ear, somebody to talk to, if they need help trying to navigate these programs that are available from the federal and provincial governments, or they need help in figuring out how do I retool or rethink my business so that I can now change platforms and succeed, they can call this line. So it will connect you directly to our Economic Development Officer, Jacinda. She is answering all of the calls, and then she will connect you. If she's not able to provide that answer kind of on the spot, she'll make sure that she connects you with the appropriate party so you don't have to go searching. They will get in touch with you. So that has been not a big new thing, because we've always been available to our businesses, but just something more formalized, that if people are looking for that ear or that extra support, somebody is there and will make sure that those connections are made.
Yeah. The Business Resiliency Map, how would the public benefit from that map? You've talked about the businesses, but as a public member, what information might be helpful for me to have?
Sure. One component that was actually the latest component we added to it was a Wi-Fi hotspots piece, because we were hearing from groups like United Way that not everybody has that good internet connection, and they used to depend on the Wi-Fi areas available at municipalities and libraries and things like that. So we've worked with our member municipalities to make sure that anything that is still available is now listed, so that anybody who does need a Wi-Fi connection is able to get it. It is helping our public support local and figure out who is available, who has changed their model online, because there is a real hunger to support locally, because we understand these are our neighbors, they are our coaches, they are huge and critical pieces of our community, our businesses are. So it has really helped to support that drive and desire to support locally without having to spend a lot of time figuring out who's open, how are they now functioning, because when you click on their listing, it will tell you if it's for delivery, if it's for curbside pickup, if you have to email, call, whatever the instructions are from that business, it's available.
You mentioned surveys, and what I'm hearing you say is those surveys are producing results. It's not just gathering information, but you're making changes, you're making a difference, you're advocating for assistance. The surveys that you do are to businesses actually themselves, or are the surveys other areas too?
The surveys that we have run have gone just to our business community because they are our number one client. And we're trying not to over survey because we also don't want to wear people out. So the second survey that just closed, it will be it for a while until we do start that recovery mode. And then again, we're going to want to find out what's working, where are those gaps, so that we can make some changes and make sure we're helping. But we've always been very big advocates that if we're going to ask our businesses to complete a survey, we're going to listen and we're going to take action right away so that we can demonstrate that your time was valuable and we did really listen to what it is you were needing. So that is why we were able to make such quick changes because of these survey results. And we'll be doing the same thing with these second set of results that are coming forward. But many partners, like Fort County Labor Market Planning Board, for example, they're running a survey specifically for the employee side so that they can find out from the workforce what that looks like. So we're doing everything possible to coordinate among our region and not duplicate efforts. And that I think that it is worth mentioning, our Grey County's approach to economic development is really from the ground up. We are real supporters of boots on the ground because that's where everything is happening. That's where our member municipalities have such an important role because they have those daily connections with businesses. They know their community like the back of their hand. And so our approach to economic development, instead of creating a task force as part of this, we've had an economic development working group since 2015. And we have all of our member municipalities sit around that table, whether it's the economic development officer or the CAO, if somebody isn't directly involved in economic development. We have provincial representatives that sit with us. We've got community partners that includes the CFDC, so the federal side of things, Fort County Labor Market Planning Board, Georgian College, the business enterprise centers who are not just in Grey County, but serving our outer areas. They're all part of this working group. And then this year with the amalgamation of our departments and now being economic development, tourism, and culture, the tourism has come on board with this committee as well, and then YMCA Employment Services. So we're a group of about 35 that are meeting bi-weekly to get some recovery plans together and make sure that we're being nimble enough and coordinated enough that all of our resources can be pooled and then made useful quickly to our businesses, which has been really good.
You know, a term I've been hearing from a variety of speakers is the word pivot. That's, I think that definitely COVID-19 has made people pivot and pivot quickly. Mm-hmm. What businesses have had the most significant impact, and what businesses do you anticipate may have the greatest challenge in the recovery stages?
I'm really seeing the biggest pivot happen in our downtowns, in our small mom and pop shop businesses who have made a really successful pivot and move to online virtual sales, to takeout or curbside delivery. It has been incredibly impressive how quickly they were able to move and make that change. And that is really helping that community feel, because again, it's that shop local, have each other's backs type of attitude that you feel. And that's so important in a time like this, to know and to really feel like you're part of a community and you're supporting your community. So that has been absolutely critical. Our tourism businesses, that's where we think the greatest challenge is going to lie, because they are seasonal in nature. It is so completely unknown. Even when we do get back and we are able to open, we know that opening is not going to be anything like it was 8 weeks ago. It will look completely different. There will be a lot of new rules and regulations required for them to open. So that is something that, as we are getting ready for that recovery, we're able to do as county staff, is to work with our provincial and federal ministries and work with our industry organizations to be able to put that information together for business. So again, they don't have to go searching kind of left, right, and center trying to find the information. We can help collate that and provide it to them. And then if we need to do trainings of sorts, we're able to do that quickly.
The COVID-19 pandemic has certainly, at the front end, made an abrupt change. Mm-hmm. But the opening up and the recovery is going to be phased in, it appears, which is, again, another adjustment. Significant adjustments when they called the pandemic, but also now for businesses. How is the food business these days? Well, agribusiness, I guess, is the appropriate term.
Yes, that is Philly's wheelhouse. She is our staff who is completely focused on agribusiness. And there were just announcements today from the federal government about more supports for agribusiness. So that has been excellent news. And we have such good organizations like OFA who are there on behalf of our farmers and our agri-food producers, rallying and advocating to make sure that they have the supports they need. So I do think that, again, all of the different levels of government and all of those organizations have done an excellent job of trying to make sure that they have those services. And one of the very first things that we did as staff when this all started was look to our tourism businesses who we knew were going to have a very different summer, and the summer students that would likely not be employed, and our apple growers who this is when they really need people, and make that connection. And that happened right away to make those connections and help out. And we were able to see some folks employed right away, which was great. And it helped those tourism businesses who were otherwise struggling, because now they had a different form of employment to keep them going, and also assisted those apple growers. So that was a good news story.
When we're through this, will you be keeping the business resiliency map? Will you be keeping that as a tool, do you think?
I think we need to look at something like that. We have always had a map for our agri-food asset map to be able to show those different chains and how that value chain works. But we may very well need to keep this map. What that looks like yet, we're not quite sure, but we're just starting to put those recovery tools and planning together. One of the components that will be very important in recovery is going to be our community improvement plan. And that is something that we have worked on over the last 2 years. So it was already in place, and we're already working with our member municipalities to make sure that they have it in place locally. But that is something where, again, from the ground up, Grey County is supporting 9 different CIPs that are all aligned and all connected with the same priority type of incentive programs for businesses, for developers, around attainable housing and all of those pieces. And that is something we're very glad we did when we did it, because it will be more useful coming out of this than it was before. And just making sure that that important work continues, along with shovel-ready projects and marketing plans. So we are now meeting every other week with that working group to make sure that we are aligned and connected, and we can bring back information to council, which then you'll be able to see through the reports, and really start to put pen to paper and what that's going to look like.
Savanna, I can't believe our time is up already. I want to thank you, and I want to extend an invitation for you to return, because you will have the survey and the report. So now you know how to reach me for sure, and we'll connect. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to the viewing audience for joining us today to learn more about services, programs, and resources available to you. Stay safe, take care, and take care of each other. Thank you.